Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us from all over the place for the webinar that we have today, organized from MSM and Maastricht University. The webinar's topic of today is what makes the MSM experience unique. And you see it's not only Alina and myself, both MSM representatives joining, but you see also two more faces. So we have some students and alumni as well here with us today. To briefly share with you who is your contact person today. Myself, my name is Inka. I am recruitment officer. I'm from Germany actually, and recruitment officer means I'm in charge of the full-time MBA program, assisting potential students along the way. So probably I've also been in touch with some of you already in the past. And then we have Alina here as well. Alina, do you briefly like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi everyone. I am Alina. I am also a recruiting student, but for another program, the Master in Management, and I am originally from Romania. And I have been in the Netherlands for 5 years now, and so I can, I can be empathic, you know, to someone coming to the Netherlands and studying here. And all right, we
Thank
can
you,
move
Alina.
on. Yes.
Simon, would you like to briefly introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much, Inka. I'm Simon Waterman. I'm from Germany too, small city next to the border to the Netherlands. So I know the Netherlands very well from my childhood. And I decided in the last September to join the Master Management in the MSM before integrated in the Maastricht University.
Thank you so much, Simon. And Dinesh, we also have you here. Do you briefly like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, Inka, Alina, thank you for having me along. My name is Dinesh, I come from New Zealand, and I am a full-time MBA alumni. I've been in the Netherlands for about 1.5 years, and so far I've enjoyed my experience here, so I'm willing to take questions as they come along.
Thank you so much. So you see, it's not only today Alina and myself sharing everything about MSM, but probably way more interesting for you is what our special guests have to share. So if there are any questions along or like during the presentation, we have actually a Q&A button there, so you can ask any questions you have. We'll see if we can answer them during the presentation, but otherwise at the end, we'll have also some time allocated for the Q&A part. So anything you want to know about Simon's experience, Dinesh's experience, feel free to ask us, and then we're happy to help. And the webinar will take about 1 hour, so we'll stick with that. The topics that we have today, we want to go through a couple of things, like to limit it down. So first of all is why the Netherlands, then why in particular Maastricht is interesting as a student location amongst all the other cities that there are in the Netherlands, why MSM in particular, talk a little bit more about the experience, you know, what you can expect when you are a student, when you're in the program at MSM, a couple of practical information, and then, like I said, probably also the biggest part, the most interesting one is the Q&A, so where you can ask any questions that you have about the MSM experience. Now let's start with why the Netherlands, and I think this is a very good question to ask our guests. So Simon, would you like to maybe in a nutshell tell us why in particular you chose for the Netherlands as a country?
Yeah, I try to put it really in a nutshell. Yeah, for me it's a country who was very open-minded. All people you are met here are very friendly to you. They're very helpful. The diversity is huge. A lot of international students. I like the way the Dutch people are thinking. Everybody is, besides helpful, quite interesting in what you are doing. So besides flat hierarchy, people are talking with you on the same stage, on the same level. And yeah, I like that the Netherlands gives you the feeling that you are very welcomed here and to be part of the Dutch community. So for me, it was was very easy to join here. Besides my friends in the program, I was able to get in touch with Dutch people making my supermarket purchases or going to sport. They are always very friendly and kind, and I like the Netherlands also for their study system, because the study system is very open-minded too. It's very practical, and I make a lot of experiences in participating in new projects or actually doing something what I really want to do.
All right, thank you so much, Simon. And Dinesh, because obviously for you came from all the way the other side of the world. So why did you choose the Netherlands?
I think it's similar to what Simone said. Netherlands is stood in the center of Western Europe. It's very advanced for its size, and it's very international and cosmopolitan in its nature. I do appreciate that everyone speaks English, but I guess there's the Dutch culture to it as well. And it's very open, and Netherlands is at the forefront of a lot of things, including sustainability and circular economy and actual improving things for the global stage. So I think as a global player, the Netherlands for its size exceeds what it does. So that was definitely a huge factor in why I chose it. And like Simone said, the people are friendly, they're very open. There is a different sort of culture where it's very direct and takes some getting used to, but I certainly feel like it's a good way of doing business, or even studying or even socializing in effect.
Yeah, that's why you're also still in the Netherlands.
Yes, definitely.
Good to hear. All right, thank you. Now, we also did a little bit of research, of course, and Alina and myself, we speak a lot, with potential students. So it's always interesting to us also to hear, like, for example, in the interviews, like why someone wants to come to the Netherlands. And a couple of these points already, Dinesh and Simon both said. Obviously, the location itself is really interesting in Western Europe, very close also to Belgium and Germany. The English-speaking part is really, really interesting. Lately, I just spoke to a school from UK, and they also said the Netherlands is really a very popular country. Also, they noticed that a lot of people actually rather go to the Netherlands because the English is very, very good. So especially if you come also from outside of Europe, you don't really need to speak the Dutch language. Myself, I'm German, Simon also, so it's quite similar if you know German to speak Dutch as well. But for all the activities, actually, you don't really need to speak Dutch. Only if you want to find a job, then of course we do advise you, in general to take up some Dutch courses. And it's also fun, if you live here maybe on the long term and you want to adapt a bit more to learn the language. Other than that, typical for Dutch schools is also indeed the learning system that overall is very, very practical oriented. So not only, let's say, a theoretical approach, but really a lot is a discussion, assignment, so very hands-on experience. The degrees are recognized pretty much everywhere. I will also share a bit more about the MSM degrees later. Overall, it seems to be a very good value for money as well. There are scholarship opportunities available. And the Dutch culture, I think we heard already from Simon and Dinesh already that they were able to adapt very well. I mean, it is a very straightforward country, very direct, the Dutch people, but I think once you are here, you get used to it quite easily. The career prospects also seem very good because it's such an international country. That means also there are a lot of jobs, a lot of jobs available for international, like for expats. Also in the northern part near Amsterdam, for example, but also in Maastricht. And what Dinesh is also doing now, let's say the orientation year permit, that's something which I think most of the schools in the Netherlands are able to offer, which means after graduation that you are allowed to stay another year in the Netherlands to find a job. And last but not least, was this ranking the other day we read where actually the Netherlands scored really well on the happiness index. So that's also nice side fact. Alina, would you like to share a bit more?
Yes, definitely. So moving on a bit, because what we're trying to do today is to help you visualize how will it be for you to study in the Netherlands. So then we are trying to narrow it down a bit. Now we talked about the Netherlands as a whole, and we will talk a bit further about Maastricht itself, because Maastricht is not the first city that someone that is coming to the Netherlands is thinking about. So first, I would like to hear from our guests what is their impression about Maastricht. Simon, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. For me, Maastricht was the address of choice because I had a lot of recommendation from friends who had already studied here, and it's close to Aachen, a city I knew, but I wasn't before the last September in Maastricht, so it was a cold water move. We call this in Germany, to go here. But the city is separated in an old city town and new city town, and everything I read about Maastricht was like in the books or on the website. It's good combination of old city and new city, and I like the way young people can participate in the city. You have bars for going out, you have good study facilities, and for me it was a lot of the thing that a city can tell a story, and in combination that I heard a lot of good things about Maastricht and about the university and obviously the MSM, it was clear for me to decide for Maastricht. So it was a mix of everything.
Okay, that's really nice. Dinesh, do you want to go next?
Yeah, similar to Simone. I do like Maastricht. I like the character of Maastricht. Maastricht's not what you call a huge city, but it has a very old town character with modern flavors to it as well. It's very scenic and beautiful. To be honest, comparing to quite a lot of other cities, it's very clean and safe. What I do like is if you walk within half an hour, you get to most places within Maastricht. And the location of Maastricht itself is very beautiful because if you walk for 20 minutes, you can go into the Belgian border. You can go to a bar or a shop there. And if you take a train for half an hour, you're in Germany pretty much. So it's very connected. I feel like Maastricht might be away from Amsterdam, but that's not a shortage because you're very close to Liège, Cologne, Düsseldorf, all within an hour and a half at a maximum, which gives it a lot of character. You completely go into completely different cultures. So I think Maastricht is very young. There's a lot of students, and Maastricht is also famous for its carnival. So I guess Feb is when it starts, and there's always events in the city. It's very happening city. I feel like it's very good. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you, Dinesh. Okay, then I can repeat what everybody has said until now. I think both Simon and Dinesh covered at least the essence of Maastricht. Indeed, it's very international. Also because of the unique location between Belgium and Germany, but also because at the Maastricht University and also at MSM we have a lot of international students as well. So you will meet a lot of people, professionals and students. You can bike everywhere. Of course, that is one of the perks of coming to the Netherlands. And it's actually small enough to feel very cozy and also big enough to feel like a proper city. And it's also a very modern city with a historical twist, as Dinesh has mentioned. Now, of course, if you are here around the holidays, when it's also a bit dark, you can see the lights, and we have a beautiful Christmas market and so on. So I like to call it a fairy tale city, and I'm really enjoying it. And of course, you can speak English also when you go to the shops or to the cinema or in other places. It's vibrant, you have what to do. And the most beautiful part of it is that is located in Limburg. So it's actually a region in the Netherlands that is a bit higher up, so you can also see hills and a lot of landscapes. And for those who like hiking, there are a lot of possibilities to go in nature and and just explore the area a bit. And all in all, is very beautiful. And now I will give the floor to Inka again.
Thank you so much, Alina. I think why MSM, that would be the next question. And maybe some of you that are joining us today are also looking for different business schools, maybe also in the Netherlands. So let's see, Dinesh, at what point did you decide that MSM, let's say, is the right school for you?
I think the quality of the program, I was looking through reviews of various universities and business schools. MSM Maastricht University is very well known for its sustainability focus on the MBA side, which is very futuristic. There's a lot of research and development on the site. Interestingly, as part of a thesis you have to submit, as I was going through research, a lot of paperwork related to this new style of doing business actually comes out of Maastricht University. There are a few professors who are very famous enough that their papers are quoted more often than not. Also, Maastricht University is rated as one of the youngest universities, which I think that is very true in character when you walk through the whole city, in effect. And MSM as a school is also very practical and hands-on. I didn't feel like it was a theoretical-based study in essence. There were a lot of case studies, lots of group work that required you to get a little out of your skin. And I think that's good because it sets you to be a more critical thinker, which I think is a great skill to develop.
I see. Thank you. And for you, Simon, I remember our meeting in Düsseldorf, but like, what was crucial for you when deciding about MSM?
Yeah, I remember this because it was the first time a university, or in case of MSM, a business school, acts very personal. I mentioned that MSM tries with a lot of effort to not only convince, but to support people in their way of thinking and maybe develop their personalities. And I was really impressed from this meeting and from the following interviews. And I like in MSM the idea of have a wide variety of possibilities after your study. For me, it was important. I'm not really sure, or because what I want to do later. So I decided to do a traditional master program with a variety of subjects. I was working in the banking industry. Maybe this could be a possible field for the future too. But there are a lot of other subjects you can join as consultants or for consultancy, or for example, human development management. It's a lot of possibilities, and I like the idea of, as mentioned before, the practical things in it, and to come out of my bubble. For example, in Germany, it's I guess easier to study in a group with Germans and maybe Dutch people or so because of the language barriers. But for me, it was a challenge to meet people from all over the world, different mindsets, different thinking. And it was the best decision I could make because I was able to grow in my thinking, to grow in my capability to do group works. And that's all MSM can offer you.
And now in your classroom, there's no other German student, right?
No. And I'm glad of this because I'm forced to speak English the whole day.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, we'll also mention the diversity a little bit later. But indeed, Simon, you have a banking background. Dinesh, would you also briefly share with us your experience before joining the MBA, and also why you did the MBA program?
By profession, I've studied to be a civil engineer, but over the past 8 years, I've worked towards and moved towards commercial management, so more of a commercial field within the engineering side. The MBA was a step forward because, it's about not just looking from operational level, but also learning of what happens higher up. And I think not just from a strategic perspective, but from a, like Simon mentioned, from a personal growth perspective, there's a lot of opportunities. I think the MSM program has a lot of focus, not just on the main papers you traditionally associate with like business, like accounting or finance, but a lot more. I feel like what I do kind of like is the support. There are competitions which are national and also within MSM. There's mentorship programs, and a bigger thing I think is throughout the whole year, there's a personal development program, which I think is great because you learn about yourself going through aptitude tests and working on your CV and cover letters. I think you come well prepared for what moves you're looking for next. And like Simone, coming with an open mind is great because I came with the expectation that I'd like to explore what else is out there. And I think that is great because, you know, you get to explore a lot more and you're not constrained to just being, I just want to be a project manager. You could be a consultant or actually shift careers as you go along.
Yeah, I see. All right, thank you so much for sharing. Maybe just in a nutshell, for those of you that have not read so much about MSM yet or joined the previous webinars, briefly, MSM, so Maastricht School of Management, we are one of the oldest business schools in the Netherlands, fully focused on the MBA and the Masters in Management, and also we have some short executive programs. I would say since the last 5 years, we had more than 90 different nationalities studying at MSM, so that's something that we're really proud on. The location we mentioned before, the focus on sustainability is there in the classroom, and also, like Dinesh already mentioned briefly, in the competitions that we have. Global network, that's something we are also, of course, highlighting a lot. That's our alumni network with, let's say, more than 20,000 alumni, where we also do regularly events. For example, next week, we do a big student and alumni event in the Netherlands, where also Simon and Dinesh meet for the first time in real. We just found out. But also global network means companies that we work with, you know, within Maastricht, but also outside of the Netherlands even. So to help you, of course, also on the long term with the job searching. Expertise track, something that we also can highlight. So there's a choice of 5 different specializations to choose from. And yeah, the whole networking part with the companies also across the border. Just a little bit about rankings. I don't want to talk too much about it because often rankings is also used for marketing purpose. So it's always nicer, maybe even more useful to ask students about their actual experience, which you can do today in the webinar, but also Alina will share at the end the link that we have to a nice chat on the website where you can ask other alumni students anything about their experience. Briefly, the full-time MBA is in the top 10 in Western Europe. And the Masters in Management is number 2 in the Netherlands. This is also still quite a news. Maastricht School of Management is now actually part of Maastricht University, which is the bigger university in the same city of Maastricht. We just merged in September. So that means we also have now a pretty much brand new campus in a very old military building. So Simon, you started, of course, in the new campus. Dinesh, you were still in the previous campus, I think. I'll be happy to show you this one. So that means because of this merger, you also have access, you know, to more events, more language center, more sports activities. So it's very beneficial to be part of a bigger network. The MSM Experience, I will also talk a little bit about this. The class profile, maybe Dinesh, you can share with us if you remember the numbers. Let's say how big was your class and where did your classmates come from?
If I remember right, my class had 29 students, but about 21 different nationalities. It was great because there was North America, South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. So there was a wide variety of students from, I'd say, global base. So it was good. It was great because it was a UN within class because there was a lot of nationalities and different cultures. And I guess cultural training is something that's MSM also brings them out. So it was good to see how you could work in a multinational environment, so to speak.
And were there any other students that have also engineering background?
Yes, there were quite a few students. I think the class was split between a lot of people from traditional business fields like finance and accounting. I think maybe about 15% of the class had engineering backgrounds, but looking to further their careers. There were also others from HR and HR, IT, a wide variety actually, and some from a traditional business field as well.
Yeah, I see all over. All right. And Simon, how is it in your class right now?
It's quite similar. We have also a lot of variety of cultures and countries. I like this very much. As I mentioned before, it's perfect for group work, for extend your thinking and your mind in ways of doing businesses. So yeah, it's quite similar: Middle East, Europe, North and South America, Asia. I guess the biggest part, or most people, are from India in our class, and then a lot of people are one person from one country, and so it's a good and I guess very helpful mix for being productive and yeah, learning a lot of how to doing businesses in the world. So yeah, I like it very much, and I'm a big fan of this kind of classes.
And you mentioned the group work, Simon. What was the most challenging part until now to work with so many different cultures?
I guess in the beginning it was a little bit challenging to get to know each other, because everybody was working in a different kind of way. For example, I was working well, in Germany it's a lot of discipline and on point, and others are more we have to think out of the borders and maybe a little bit open-minded. It was for me a new experience and quite helpful. But the mix in the beginning, and maybe to accept that somebody has a completely opposite opinion of your idea, and maybe this idea is even better, was definitely maybe in the beginning a challenge for everyone to get to know completely new people with new ideas, new ways of thinking, and yeah, come to one solution in the end. So
yeah,
a little
I
bit
see. It also prepares you for working with an international company afterwards, right? And you're prepared for anything.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah, diversity, that's something indeed we definitely encourage in class. So for both programs, pretty much we do accept students from any background. So we do not require specific business degrees to apply, but it's really the opposite. We love to see variety of all different industries in the class. And also what's quite known for, not only engineers are quite often in the class, but also entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship is a big topic, also especially in the full-time MBA, because there's an expertise track in entrepreneurship possible. So that's also something we would like to highlight. The teaching philosophy, Dinesh, would you like to share a little bit, what did the week of the MBA look like, basically? How was it structured?
I like the structure because it's week in, week off, a whole week of one paper. So you concentrate on one paper. So there's, you know, there's, I think morning sessions usually would be where a new topic is introduced and goes into detail. And the afternoon sessions, as far as I remember, had a lot of group activities. So, you know, you're given cases to work on. And I feel like there's a more hands-on approach where, like Simone stated, you know, when you work in a group, you're working with a multitude of nationalities, and everyone comes together and throws in ideas. And I guess the best part is because everyone comes from working professionally, they sometimes feel their idea is best, but group consensus eventually wins out, because at the end of the day, it is a group submission. So I guess it is the UN essentially, because this is a lot of diplomacy and, you know, getting the right sort of solutions that works for everybody, you know. So you present it as a group rather than as individuals, and it was great because a lot of the cases were based on real life companies, and the professors would add in other views to say, you know, okay, this solution works, but did you also think of the pitfalls? So I guess it's all about holistic thinking, not just about what works, but what doesn't work, in effect, that improves how you start looking at a business, in effect. So bottom, top, or culture onwards.
I see. All right. And for you, Simon, how did the case-based learning look like until now in the MM program?
Yeah, it's a very tough program. Like at the moment, it's you have a lot to do, and yeah, usually you are doing some assignments, group assignments, and individual assignments. And yeah, even the group assignments are besides class, and the individual assignment is then done in a few days you have. But it's a very tough program as well. And yeah, I like to work as mentioned before, as Dina mentioned before, to work on actual cases, practical cases. it's very cool to work maybe on companies you're going to apply in the future. So you have in the job interview a great advantage to say, I worked on your company in my master's. And yeah, besides of this, a few challenges you are able to solve. You can participate in the challenges, for example, the European Tech Challenge. Yeah, you can work there with, for example, the MBAs too, and find solutions for a real business problem. Yeah.
I see. And what was the last assignment that you had to work on, Simon?
Marketing management, about a company I could choose on my own. And it was a company I will apply for. So it was my intention and the intention of the docent to say, okay, apply. Maybe if you want to apply for this company, do this, and you can mention this in your further job interview.
All right, very good. The company visits, Dinesh, do you remember like which companies you were visiting during the MBA?
I think because last year was still a COVID year, we only got to visit one company, but it was a local company, Vita Talalai. It was a whole day as part of the marketing class. We did a class visit, and the company actually brought about a real issue that they had with something they were looking at expanding. And I think the afternoon session we spent working with the company, providing ideas, because it was only an afternoon session. It wasn't full-blown ideas, but there was a lot of brainstorming to get an understanding for what might work. And I think it was very good because we're not just learning in a class what someone else might have done, but you're also getting to experiment what you do. And I think one thing I forgot to mention, just like Simone, was every paper has a lot of presentations. And I think the good part is you learn to get out of your skin. When you first start, it can be hard to speak in front of a whole bunch of people, but as it goes along, you just get used to it. And I think your presentation skills, not just what's behind you on the screen, but how you present yourself. There's a lot of opportunities to work through it as well. So there's a lot of confidence building, I have to say.
I see. Yeah, you have to, right?
Yeah.
I see. Thank you, Dinesh. All right. Yeah, pretty much these are the two programs just in general. So the Masters in Management on the left and the MBA on the right. In the follow-up email after this webinar, we'll also be sharing you the brochure so that you can read through it. Just to briefly know, the main differences between two programs is the requirements, because for the Masters in Management, there's pretty much no work experience required. So typically the students have no work experience, let's say are fresh graduates or have done maybe 1 or 2 internships. So I would say not more than 3 years of work experience. If someone is a graduate and has done at least 3 years of work experience, we would advise the MBA program. You see here also a bit more about the diversity, once again, the gender, the different countries the students are coming from, but we already discussed about it earlier, I think. The career and personal development track, Alina.
Yes, thank you, Inga. Okay, we have been discussing a bit also about personal development. Normally, we have a full team dedicated for the career and personal development part. And what we do is that the full year, so both programs have 1 year, and then the full year, you have key moments in which you either do personality tests, have certain workshops for different skills, and also we try to help you review the CV and motivation letters and so on, and train you a bit on how to become a strong candidate in the Dutch market. So then, additionally to your curriculum and what you have to do, you will work also, let's say, working group sessions, peer sessions, and you will support each other as well. So not only the staff, but also and the students support each other in their learning and development. Because we believe that learning is not necessarily just in the curriculum, but it's also on a personal level. So I would like to ask Dinesh and how he has experienced this career and personal development track.
I think right from the first week was a good introduction to what MSM's other side of activities is, and not just on just course papers. The very first week I joined MSM, we had to work on ourselves. There was an aptitude test, which, you know, you get results for, and, you know, it gives you a baseline to work throughout the year, including, you know, looking at your personality and what you want to achieve out of the MBA. But at the same time, I really like the career personal development track because you put it into little peer groups. So, you know, smaller groups of maybe 4 to 5 people from your cohort. You work on your CVs, help each other, and you get yourself industry ready, I would call it, just because you'll be ready to go out to the market. Just like Alina said, you'll be ready to go to the Dutch market because you're not just aware of the requirements, but also how you could probably provide you know, an organization your services and the quality of the services. At the same time, I think it's great because it's one-on-one, because it's not just group sessions, because, you know, when I used to do it with Hermina, it used to have meetings once every couple of months or so, and we'd go through to see how you're progressing on yourself or your CV and cover letter, because all of it leads to what I think is the best part was all the CVs and everything you'll be working on goes into the CV book at the end of the year, because there's always a corporate week. And for my cohort last year, quite a few people did get good offers out of it because, you know, they were well aware of what was required, and when the organizations came through, it fit their profile. So it wasn't just about finding a job, but finding a job that fits your profile. So yeah. I feel like good matches were made there for people's aspirations as well as organizational aspirations. So definitely highly recommend it.
Wow, that's really good to hear. Indeed, we do have the CV book. So the moment you, after you finish your workshop on how to set up your CV in the best way, then we create this book and send it to the companies that we are collaborating with. Also, we have networking events like Corporate Week and other opportunities to meet the companies. Of course, we encourage students to reach out to the companies. In some cases, maybe the companies can reach out to you, but normally it's good to be proactive. Simon, how did you experience the personal development track?
Yeah, it was a lot of things were mentioned before. I don't want to tell them again, but I guess it is also important that in the present, a lot of students think they learn a lot of stuff in the universities, which is very theoretical, maybe a little bit practical, but not very helpful for their applications and for their working careers. And this career workshops and development track challenge this definitely. Gives you the opportunity to improve yourself, to get to know yourself, develop your strengths and weaknesses. I learned a lot about myself, what kind of things I can work on, what strength I have and what things I can continue, and how maybe I could act in negotiations. And I like these workshops very much. I can recommend these workshops to everyone. And for me, it was one of the main reasons to join MSM too, because it gives you the feeling that you can create an individuality of your personality. So it's a very good workshop and a very interesting as well.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just to quickly say a few more words about it. So we mentioned skills, we mentioned the CV part and the motivation letter. We believe that the most important way to develop yourself is through interacting with others. And this is why having such a diverse classroom, because we were mentioning how many different nationalities we have in a classroom, and working with your colleagues and getting to know each other and keeping each other accountable for what you do and pointing out pitfalls and strengths and so on. This is also one big part of the whole MSM experience and the career and personal development track. Okay, we can move on to the next slide. So just a short a short summary about what exactly will make you more attractive for the job market. So besides the CV and so on. Basically, what we also add in your CV is also the curriculum and the specialization. So that is for a full-time MBA, the hands-on learning. So while when you go in a company and you start a new job, in the university, you had the opportunity to practice to solve complex problems, but real life problems. So then you are prepared to go in the job market with what you are learning from your classroom. So that is also something that I personally didn't experience in my university, but I finished university a long time ago. So that doesn't, yeah, it's not important right now. But I'm just saying that this is very useful and can give you the confidence to start a new challenge and a new job. And of course, while you have a group and individual assignment, you practice a lot of critical thinking, teamwork, communication, and so on. You become self-aware on your soft skills, and that is one of the best skills that you can have these days. You get a chance to present, to stay in front of your classroom and present your project and so on. So when we are talking about communication, we also mean public speaking and presentation mastery. And yeah, all in all, it's a pressure cooker. It's quite an intense experience, but definitely you will feel very different after 1 year after going through the MSM experience. Dinesh, Simon, did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I think that pressure cooker term is something that gets used quite a lot at MSM, and I think, at least from my experience, I feel like the year goes by very quickly. It's a lot of fun, but it just goes very quickly sometimes because you're working hard on yourself, but also project. But all I can say is you got to enjoy it as much as you can because there's a lot to it. And, you know, like both you and Kirsten and myself have said, there's a lot going on in Maastricht and it's wonderful. There's a lot of social events and lots to do. Hence why I don't think there's a boring week as such at MSM. That's for sure.
Yeah, the point of laughing is definitely important. Is in class or besides class, it's definitely an important point at MSM.
Yeah. Okay, nice. And we also wanted to mention a bit about the student competition that we have. We get a lot of questions about that. We have, I think the most popular one is the SDG challenge. And also other competitions with that have to do with the companies and the whole experience that is hands-on learning and so on. Did you get a chance to participate in the SDG challenge last year?
Yeah, so as part of the SDG challenge, so I worked with an organization based not far from Maastricht. It was great because it's very hands-on with a very localized problem. You get a whole day. The term pressure cooker is very much used in that because for 2 hours you're introduced to the problem and then you get 4 hours to solve it. And a week later you present it to the whole school pretty much as a competition. So I did the school one. No pressure. So it was great because there's a lot of hands-on learning, but also I guess something I never realized is Netherlands, when we think of all the big organizations, we think are based in Rotterdam or Amsterdam. I was surprised how many multinational companies are actually based not too far from Maastricht, owing to its location close to Belgium, not too far from Luxembourg or even Germany. So it was great.
Nice. Okay, maybe good to also mention what SDG means, because I just noticed I'm using acronyms now. So it's the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN. Basically, they have, if I'm not mistaken, 16 Sustainable Development Goals. So we are talking about, for example, education or other areas where you can be more sustainable and improve something in the world. So this is where the students are brainstorming and developing this type of projects to really see if they can find certain solutions to big problems in the world.
Yeah, last year the MSM group, unfortunately I couldn't participate in this group, but they won the Visitors Award. So they did a great job with the company Bugaboo in the Netherlands. And yeah, the whole class were very proud of them.
Yeah, that's really nice. Okay, then we can move on to some more practical information. And of course, this is what you will also see in the brochures. So we will move on through it a bit faster. So we have enough time for your questions at the end. Yeah. So we have the tuition fees. So for the full-time MBA, the tuition fee is 28,500 euros. And for the Master in Management, 16,000 euros. And then this is a question that we get very often. We do have scholarships available. You can benefit of a scholarship of up to 40%. All the scholarships are mentioned in the brochures, and we can always help you choose a scholarship according to your profile. So if you send us your CV, and we will share the email addresses and so on, we will look at it together. And also the application process. All in all, you need a CV, your diploma and transcript, and of course, if you didn't study in English, the translation of the diploma, proof of English, so a test, your ID, recommendation. So for the full-time MBA, we do ask for a professional recommendation and an academic recommendation, and for MM, an academic recommendation. And then a personalized motivation letter, and we do have the guidelines on the website. And our recommendation is to make it as unique, personal as possible, because this is something we read word by word, and we do give a lot of attention, and we wish this motivation letter is for you more like a reflection, so to really check why you are making such a great step in your life. When you apply, we do have an application fee of 95 euros. And then just to give you a bit of insight of what happens after you apply, the admissions checks your profile and your documents, and then we call you for an interview. And the moment you are admitted at MSM, you will also have to do leveling courses. But in case you do have a GRE or a GMAT, the leveling courses are not necessary. All right, then we have exactly 10 minutes to go through the questions. So I will look in the chat and I will see what were the most important questions. 1 second. All right, we have one from Ritik. The question is, can I submit my GMAT after getting admission? Also, in how many days after applying I will get results? Okay, so we have two questions. One, if you are in the process of getting your GMAT score and you apply early on, yes, you can apply without the GMAT score, and you can submit it a bit later. It's very important that you mention that to the admissions team. In case you don't get a chance to do the GMAT, in the end, you can always opt for the leveling courses of MSM. And then the other question is, when will I get my results after applying? So after you apply, it takes around 3 weeks for the whole application process to be finalized. So then you apply, we review your documents, you go for an interview, and then what happens is that the admissions council checks the feedback from the interview and your documents, your motivation, and so on, and they make a decision on what are the best scholarships, and we send you an admissions letter. So it takes around 3 weeks to go through the process. All right, and then still from RETIC, will I get a chance to raise funding for my startup? That is a very, very nice question. I'm not sure if this has been done in the past. Normally, I know there are some governmental projects in which, if you are in the Netherlands, you can apply for, but I don't really have that information at the moment. So maybe RETIC, we can chat via email. But I would definitely recommend you to look for on the Dutch government website and just see what are the different fundings that they have available, for your startup. But definitely that's something we can look at when you also come to the Netherlands. Okay, next question. Right, 1 second. Okay, there was a question about scholarships, so that we covered. You can get up to 40% scholarship, and then we need to see your profile to check if which scholarship is the right for you. For example, we have an NGO scholarship, so if you have 2 to 3 years of experience in an NGO, then we can discuss if you're applying for that one. This is just an example, but depending, the scholarship mainly are available according to your profile, your country of residence, and so on. So we can check that together. We also got a question from Hamid, if it's possible to get a recording from the masterclass on the 15th of December. That, if you send us an email, we will leave our details. We will check and let you know. Oh no, but we have it available, so we will send it if it wasn't sent to you already. So I wasn't in the back end of the chat until now. Okay, and then we also have one from Esther. Oh no, this is a reply to Esther regarding the scholarships. That's good. So that's done. And I think these are all our questions.
Did we cover everything, Alina? All questions?
Yes,
okay.
We did.
Maybe Simon, anything else? Any final words you think you want to share?
Yeah, if it is possible for somebody of you, come to Maastricht, visit the campus, as Inga mentioned before, it's very beautiful here. You can see the learning spaces, drink a good coffee. Here, this is our tea, both as possible. And yeah, get a feeling of how it is to study here. I can recommend this definitely.
Thank you, Simon. And Dinesh, any final words from you to share today?
I think similar to what Simon and all of us has said previously, Maastricht is very open, but if anyone has to visit Maastricht, and as far as I've always looked at it, MSM and UM have been very open, so there's always someone to chat and show things around. So it's a good, I think it's a very open and helpful location.
All right, thank you for sharing. Then Alina, I don't know if you have done it already, but otherwise Alina is going to share with you the email addresses in the chat that you know how to reach Alina and myself. Also, like I said earlier, we have a nice chat on the website where you can also start chatting if you have some other questions with other students and alumni. Keep an eye on the website. We have a couple of more webinars coming up, also program related. So there's one for Masters in Management in particular, and one for the full-time MBA next month. And then I think we're at the end of the webinar, so it's almost still within the hour. So thank you everyone for joining us today. And yeah, if there are any questions, feel free to reach out, but we will also send you a follow-up email with the brochures. Thank you so much. And thank you, Dinesh and Simon, for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, everyone. And I also added the email address of Inka and my email address as well. If you want to have a Zoom meeting with us, I also left a meeting link in which you can schedule that. And the final link was to chat with our students and our alumni. So if you have if you want to know more of what our students experience, then you can directly chat with them. And that's about it. Thank you everyone for joining today. And yeah, we hope to talk to as many as you as possible.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.